There's a lot of weird going on with this.
I know.
Joe Rogan recently spoke about a moment involving Erika Kirk, and what he noticed has sparked massive conversation online. Some viewers believe it hints at a surprising political shift that could shape future headlines. At a recent Turning Point event, something happened on stage that had people across social media pausing their feeds to replay the clip. Erika Kirk stood before the crowd and made a comment about her late husband Charlie, and in the same moment referenced Vice President J.D. Vance in a way that immediately grabbed attention. When J.D. later joined her on stage, the interaction between them became the focus of body language commentators, Rogan's audience, and millions of viewers who felt that the moment raised questions worth discussing. In this video, you'll see the clip that set the internet buzzing and why some people think it stood out from her other public interactions. You'll hear what Rogan said that pushed the conversation even further. And we'll look at a photograph of Usha Vance that many viewers have been analyzing closely. By the end, you'll understand why so many people online are debating how this moment might connect to J.D. Vance's future in politics and to broader conversations happening around the 2028 election cycle. Before we dive into the reactions, let's look at where this discussion began. Charlie Kirk was a major figure in conservative politics, building Turning Point USA from the ground up. After his passing at just 31 years old, Erika stepped into an intense public spotlight, balancing grief with the responsibilities of raising their young family. Not long after, she became increasingly visible, speaking at events, appearing in interviews, hosting Charlie's podcast, and taking on leadership roles within the organization he had built. Many viewers praised her strength, while others simply noted that her rapid return to the public eye raised questions they didn't yet know how to interpret. All of that led to the now discussed moment at the Oxford event with J.D. Vance.
No one will ever replace my husband, no. But I do see some similarities of my husband in J.D. and Vice President J.D. Vance. I do. And that's why I'm so blessed to be able to introduce him tonight, because he understands the fight that we're up against.
Wait, what? Her husband had only recently passed, and she was already drawing a comparison to someone else. And not just anyone, but the Vice President of the United States. Standing there in front of thousands of people and cameras everywhere, the moment didn't land the way many viewers expected. Instead of sounding like a simple expression of grief, it came across in a way that made people online wonder whether she had been thinking about that comparison for some time. And the internet immediately started asking questions. Why would she phrase it that way? What similarities was she referring to? And why did she seem so at ease saying it? Comment sections lit up instantly. Some viewers believed she was simply acknowledging qualities they saw in both men, while others felt this was the moment that sparked a wave of speculation about Erika's growing public role. Many commenters thought this was the first sign that people were reading more into her words than she intended, while others argued it might hint at something unfolding behind the scenes. At first, even I thought the reactions online might be exaggerated, until I watched what happened next. Because after Erika made that comparison, J.D. Vance walked onto the stage. The crowd was cheering, music was playing, and he stepped forward to greet her. Most people expected a brief, polite gesture, maybe a quick side hug or a respectful pat on the back. But what happened instead was a moment that stood out to viewers in a way no one anticipated. When they embraced, the hug looked much closer than her usual public interactions. Erika's hand rested higher than expected, and J.D. leaned in more than people predicted in a professional setting. It wasn't inappropriate, but it was noticeably more connected than the standard event stage greeting. And that detail made viewers online start analyzing the moment frame by frame. Her body language, his posture, the length of the hug, all of it quickly became the focus of online discussions. Some people saw comfort between two individuals going through an emotional moment, while others felt the interaction appeared unusually warm for a high-profile event. And that reaction, that sudden shift in how the audience viewed everything, is what changed the tone of the conversation entirely.
I've gotten several requests to decode this video with Erika Kirk and J.D. Vance. Let's look at J.D. Vance's side of the hug first. He gives a tight hug with a pat on the back. So some people often pat people on the back. That's just kind of how they manage a longer hug. And for some people, that patting on the back is what they do to comfort someone else. He also rests his hands after the hug for a second on her waist area, which can be a sign of affection and or romantic interest. It's the move to slide her hands up and grasp and cradle his head that is getting so much attention. This is a move that we women do when we are in a deep kiss, which is why it looks so very intimate. Erika then ends her hug by grasping his shoulders, which is a sign of affection and closeness. That said, grief can do really wonky things to humans, but this is wonky for sure. I'm Annie Sarnblad, and I teach microexpressions and all things
Body language experts immediately began weighing in. One commentator, Annie Sarnblad, broke down the entire interaction in a video that went viral, and what she highlighted surprised a lot of viewers. She explained that this kind of close physical contact, especially in a highly public setting involving a married public figure and someone recently widowed, appeared far more personal than what people normally expect on a political stage. The closeness, the placement of their hands, the way they leaned in, and the overall length of the hug led many online observers to discuss whether there was added emotional context behind the moment. And here's what caused even more conversation. Erika's expression during that hug. It wasn't the somber, reflective expression that viewers associated with recent loss. It looked more like a genuine, warm smile, the kind that suggested she felt comfortable and at ease in that moment. Now, to be clear, everyone processes grief differently. People react in ways that can't always be predicted or understood from the outside, but when you're a public figure, every gesture, every expression, every moment becomes something the internet studies closely. And when this clip spread, viewers began forming their own interpretations. Some saw a simple human moment between two people who had both dealt with intense public pressure. Others believed the interaction seemed unusually familiar for the circumstances. The online debate grew quickly, splitting viewers into two camps: those who felt it was completely innocent and those who thought the moment suggested something deeper between the individuals involved. And while the internet was debating Erika and JD, there was someone else at that same event whose reaction became its own point of discussion. Usha Vance, JD's wife, a photo captured from the event later circulated widely online, showing her embracing Erika. At first glance, the image seemed like a heartfelt moment between two women supporting each other, but many viewers began focusing on Usha's expression. People said they noticed an emotional depth in her eyes, something that looked like concern or uncertainty. One viral comment described the image as one of the most emotional photos in a long time, noting the intensity in Usha's expression as she held on to Erika. To many viewers, it looked less like a routine embrace and more like a moment filled with unspoken emotion. Whether that interpretation is accurate or not, it was enough to fuel even more conversation about what exactly unfolded that evening and why so many viewers felt that something about the dynamic was worth paying attention to. Online discussions only grew from there, setting the stage for what people began pointing out next.
Did y'all just see that? Y'all, let me show you this again. Watch his hand.
One clip that resurfaced online showed Erika greeting another speaker at a different event, and the moment looked noticeably more reserved. In that video, the man barely made physical contact, keeping his hands lifted slightly as if unsure how close to stand. It was the kind of cautious, respectful interaction people expect at public gatherings, especially involving someone who recently experienced a major personal loss. Viewers referenced this clip to show what Erika's typical greetings looked like. Most of the embraces were brief, polite, and very formal, the kind of quick shoulder touch or side hug that public figures often use on stage. Nothing about them suggested anything beyond professionalism. That contrast is what fueled the online conversation even further. People began asking why the embrace with JD Vance appeared noticeably closer than the others. Why was her hand placed the way it was? Why did they lean in more than usual? Why did the moment last longer than the standard greeting? Online commenters framed these questions not as accusations, but as observations about how different the interaction appeared when compared side by side with her other public moments. Some viewers believed it was simply a natural response in an emotionally charged environment, while others felt the interaction carried a sense of familiarity that surprised them. When people analyzed the clips next to each other, It became easier to see why the moment became such a talking point. The difference in style, posture, and expression made the hug with JD stand out dramatically from her usual public interactions, and social media users began creating timelines, compilations, and breakdowns to highlight the contrast. Adding to this conversation was another detail that viewers discussed heavily: the support Erika received from Usha Vance following Charlie Kirk's passing. According to Erika's own public statements, Usha was one of the people who stayed by her side during the early days of her grief. Instead of offering a simple message or gesture from a distance, Usha reportedly traveled with her, offering comfort, guidance, and a steady presence during an incredibly difficult time. Erika spoke warmly about Usha's support, describing it as a moment of connection during overwhelming circumstances. But one particular word Erika used in recounting their interaction caught viewers off guard. She described a moment between them as a confrontation. That phrasing stood out. Online, people began asking what she meant by that. Did she mean an intense conversation, a moment of emotional honesty, a difficult exchange during an already heavy situation? Viewers weren't sure, and that uncertainty added another layer to the discussion. Some suggested that emotionally charged moments can create deep bonds between people, often called trauma bonds. Others simply felt the wording was unusual and tried to interpret what she may have intended. But even with these explanations, many viewers felt the choice of words didn't quite match the warmth she had expressed when talking about Usha's support. And combined with the now viral hug clip, the contrasting greetings from past events, and the emotional photo of Usha from the Oxford gathering, the debate surrounding these interactions only intensified. Social media users began forming larger theories, trying to piece together what the connections and reactions might mean.
Confronted Usha Vance. I held her hand and I told her, honestly, I do not know how I'm going to get through this. She told me something. She said, you know when you're on an airplane with your kids and it's the last 15 minutes of the flight, things are crazy. Kids are not cooperating, toys are flying everywhere and everyone's screaming. And you think to yourself, cannot wait for this flight to land. And it's 15 minutes before you land. She told me, you will get through these 15 minutes in the next 15 minutes. Usha, I don't think you realized it, that those words were exactly what I needed to hear.
When Erika used the word confronted to describe her interaction with Usha, it immediately caught people's attention. Online discussions lit up with viewers trying to understand what she meant. Some believed she was referring to a tough, emotional exchange during a difficult moment, while others thought the word hinted at something more complicated. The phrasing stood out because it didn't quite match the supportive picture Erika had previously painted of Usha. That contrast raised new questions. What actually happened during that plane ride, and why did Erika choose that specific word? Some viewers explained it as the kind of intense, honest moment that can happen when people experience overwhelming circumstances together, sometimes called a trauma bond. But even with that explanation, many felt the wording didn't fully align with her earlier comments. Meanwhile, JD Vance's recent public remarks added another layer to the conversation. Some felt his comments were simply awkward timing, while others believed they came across differently than intended. This mix of reactions made people pay even closer attention to the dynamics among everyone involved. From there, social media speculation escalated. Viral comment threads started connecting the hug, the phrasing Erika used, and the timing of public statements. None of this came from official sources. It was all viewer interpretation. But the speed at which these theories spread showed just how invested people had become in trying to understand the situation.
According to the narrative. Now, let's be real clear. I don't necessarily think they know what's going on yet. There's a lot of weird going on with this.
He said something along the lines of, something feels off, and people don't really know what's happening. That single comment, without names or specifics, was enough to reignite online conversations. Viewers immediately linked it to the viral discussions surrounding Erika Kirk, JD Vance, and the clip that had been circulating everywhere. Rogan wasn't making accusations. He simply acknowledged the confusion many people were already expressing. But because his platform is so large, even a vague remark pushed audiences to revisit the moment and analyze it again. Social media feeds quickly filled with breakdowns, theory threads, and reaction videos from people trying to interpret the tone and timing of recent public events. Rogan also mentioned that people online were asking questions about the circumstances of Charlie Kirk's passing, not to suggest wrongdoing, but to highlight that the details left many viewers unsure how to interpret everything he repeated what audiences were already saying, that the lack of clarity often leads to speculation, especially when the situation involves well-known public figures. This acknowledgement fueled more discussion. Viewers weren't claiming certainty, they were responding to a sequence of emotional and highly visible moments. The viral hug, Erika's increased public presence, and JD's recent statements were all being examined together, creating a fast-growing conversation. Even people who hadn't seen the original clip started weighing in, adding their interpretations and trying to make sense of the broader picture. As more reactions appeared, the conversation only grew louder.
That he took it apart and then put it back together again? Shut the up. Do you know how much time it would take to do that if you were highly skilled?
To disassemble a gun.
To disassemble a rifle so that you can get it in a backpack. And by the way, not gonna fit. Not gonna fit.
In a backpack.
And then somehow or another reconnects it once he gets off the roof? What? This story is horseshit. Like none of these things make any sense to me.
As people revisited the story, online conversations shifted toward the public information surrounding Charlie Kirk's passing. Rogan noted that many viewers felt uncertain about some of the details, not as a claim of wrongdoing, but as recognition that confusing events often lead to unanswered questions. This confusion fueled even more discussion across social media. Some commenters focused on the unusual elements mentioned in public reports, while others simply wondered how the situation unfolded. None of the theories came from official sources. They were reactions from viewers trying to understand a sudden and emotional event. At the same time, people began discussing how Erika's public role changed afterward. Many saw her stepping into leadership as a natural continuation of her work with Charlie, while others felt the timing added to the broader conversation. This mix of interpretations became one of the main reasons the online debate intensified. When all of this was combined with the viral hug, JD's recent public remarks, and the emotional reactions captured in photos from the Oxford event, viewers started treating the situation like a puzzle made up of public moments. Each clip, comment, and timeline added another layer for people trying to make sense of everything. What made the discussion spread so widely was the emotional connection viewers felt. They weren't presenting conclusions. They were asking questions, comparing observations, and reacting to moments that seemed significant or unexpected. And as more people joined the conversation, the online theories multiplied, drawing even greater attention to the entire situation. As these conversations continued spreading, viewers split into two groups. Some believed the entire situation, the timing, the expressions, the public comments, could simply be explained by stress, grief, and the pressures facing everyone involved. Others felt the series of public moments raised questions they couldn't ignore, especially once social media examined every detail. What became clear is that people were reacting to what they saw in real time. Every clip, every photo, every remark added a new piece to a discussion that quickly grew into one of the most talked about stories in political commentary circles. And that brings everything to the final question viewers kept returning to. Was this simply a collection of emotional moments being interpreted through the lens of the internet, or is there something larger developing that people are beginning to notice? No matter the interpretation, the reactions, theories, and debates show just how invested people have become in trying to understand the dynamics unfolding in public view. So now I want to hear from you. What do you think is happening here? Is this coincidence, timing, or part of something bigger? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this breakdown interesting, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next deep dive.